Yeah, as he said, I will take you for a trip to the realm of the voice talents and the methods of collaboration with them. Actually, this is a good topic about the voice-over, so I would make my voice sometimes louder. I promise that to the cameraman, not to boring him and not to make him fall asleep, so beware. I warned you. My name is Maria Borys-Piątkowska, but usually I skip the second part of my surname as it might be problematic for non-Polish speakers. So Mary Borys or Maria Borys, that's fine. I'm a senior narrative designer and writer in the Flying Wild Hog studio, where I moved after working for several years for CI Games. Now I'm in the industry for like 9 years right now, and I also occasionally collaborate with Chaosium. This is actually a tabletop RPG company, which is not that much connected with the game industry, but still, these are the role-play games that I actually started, and thanks to them, I ended up in the game industry. As a matter of fact, I'm also a voiceover director. Of course, on behalf of my company of Flying Wild Hog, I managed to finish a couple of courses teaching voiceover workshops and voiceover directing. Throughout my entire career, I was responsible for story creation, character creation, and of course, voiceover direction in a couple of titles. Evil West, this is actually the latest one, Shadow Warrior 3, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts, and Lords of the Fallen iOS. So this is kind of my portfolio. I do like and do recommend to play with the voiceovers, also in Polish language. They are brilliant. So, where shall we start? Actually, to have us on the same page, all of us on the same page, I will start with a short definition, Wikipedia or other academic sources definition of what a voiceover actually is. You have the definition, but in other words, maybe simple words, we can say that voiceover are the spoken words of a person that you cannot see. I will take you to this trip of voiceover realm from a perspective of narrative designer or writer. So let's have a deal that when I will be addressing to you as voiceover director, I think of you as narrative designers or writers. And this would be actually my list of tips of how to prepare the recording session and how to run the recording session from a perspective of a writer and narrative designer. Let's see at the agenda. We will talk about casting, which is of course an obvious element of recording sessions, and sometimes the most funniest, I guess, but also challenging. We will take a closer look at the tracking sheet. What is tracking sheet? I will tell you in detail in a moment. Then we will talk about the script, which is a very important element in the life of a writer when it comes to not only recording sessions, but as well. And I will give you some important and tested tips when you have, in the moment when you have the actor in a booth or in the front of the screen, and you are to live direct him or her on how to perform the particular role in your game. And of course, we will end up with some wrap-up, bibliography or recommended talks from GDC. I will spoil that just to make sure you will have even more knowledge about this topic. So, let's start with the casting. As you, of course, may be familiar with this term, this is a part of selection of the talents or actors suitable for a role that you actually want to perform in your game. So there are actually two ways. Probably there are more, but I will tell you about two that I actually checked, and I know that they are working, and I do recommend them. So, two ways of preparing a character casting sheet. I will also show you in a moment an example of that one, but before, I will just sum up some most important elements of this character casting sheet, which is, in brief, a basic information about the character. So the sex, the age, the archetype, or personality, whatever you call it, whatever you want to use the term, is actually the essence of the character, that you can look at the character and say, okay, so this is the muscle man, or this is a female lead, like Rachel Green in Friends, for example, right? Some unique features, accent, which is very important, I will also tell you in detail in a moment, and any concept art, if there are any. And what about those two ways of preparing it? Actually, most often, the voice talents and their companies that they are responsible for selecting the voiceovers, voice talents to voiceovers, they already have some samples. They're voice samples that are actually well prepared, and you can have the whole range of skills and possibilities of an actor. And thanks to them, you can be sure that, okay, so this is the actor you want. The voice is okay, you know, the intonation is okay, and all the performing skills, the range is okay. This is actually the most usual thing that you will get from the voice talent companies, or the voice talents, if they're, for example, freelancing, they already have those samples. But if not, it's good to prepare this kind of character sheet that I will show you in a moment. One more important thing is that remember about this whole process of casting and involvement of different people. We know that the more people, the more mess it's going to be around. So it's good that you select some particular people, including you as the narrative designer or writer, because you are actually responsible for writing the script, and you are responsible for all the script lines, text lines that are going to be performed, and you know the context and the situation and the whole nuance of things that actually is there when this character is going to say that very line. So remember always to be a part of the casting group that is actually selecting an actor. And also, it's good that you are the one responsible for the tracking of this recording session, for being a part of the direction team, and to be like the one who's chosen to get this thing done. And it's good to remember and always be prepared for that. Character casting sheet, next slide, is that more detailed information. What about the character that we're going to present to the voice talent? When we actually want to select a voice talent, if there's no samples at all and we want to check what kind of a character and what type of an actor we need for the character. This is actually a guideline for the voice talent. As I said, it's good to remember about those special elements of a character, accent, unique feature, and so on and so on. But when we prepare actually a bunch of lines to get selected the voice talent, we need to remember to get all the range and check all the skills that the voice talent can provide. So one way to select that is to prepare a bunch of text lines that are actually random, but make sure that they evoke different emotions. So it can be like random lines that will make the voice talent perform, for example, like a joy, anger, sadness. So anything that will tell you about the range of his skills and his voice or her. And the second one, I think the better one, and definitely the most accurate, is that if you have already some text lines existing in your game. Actually, when you want and you need a voiceover, probably you already have some text lines or a bunch of text lines in a even placeholder script, but you already have something to make the voice talent perform. Possibly it may be for the sake of the vertical slice or other demo that you want to show to the publisher. So this is absolutely the best thing to give the voice talent. It's a bunch of text lines already existing in your games. And also, be sure that you actually put them in a various range. So you evoke different emotions. Let your voice talent play a dramatic moment or a comic relief. So you will see how he or she tells a joke, for example. Or when he or she and his or her character is in a combat. So they need to be louder, they need to be on adrenaline, and so on and so on. This is actually still, again, the thing that you know, thanks to it, you know the whole range of actors' skills and voice possibilities. Good to remember not to put too many lines in the casting sheet. I am 100% sure that after you hear like 3 or 4 lines of your text script that you wrote, you already know if this is an actor or an actress that actually fits the role you want her to perform. It's completely enough to give a scene or two, and that's completely fine. So, as I promised, example of a character casting sheet. I put the casting in brackets on purpose. I will explain it in a moment. But this is how this character casting sheet may look like. So, again, a couple of important elements that you need to include in this Excel file, let's be honest. This is the best possible tool that you can use here for the sake of preparing a character casting sheet. So we have the whole logline, which is actually the essence of technical information, right? So age, gender, profession, and everything that you can say from the first look that you see a character. It's good to put it in a one sentence, for example, an aspiring student of medicine or biology, right? It's good to also put some kind of an archetype or personality. I said it before, right? Whatever word you want to use, that's fine. It can be personality, this can be archetype. The most important thing here is to get this essence of how you can describe in a big picture, in possibly one word, this character. So this is, yeah, a big picture, like a very strong keynote, catchphrase or a keyword, right? So female lead or mother-to-be or a muscle man, anything like that, which is very strong in case of sounding and depiction. And that's for sure enough for a voice talent because they know how to play it and they are experienced in reading those big pictures. It's good to always put, if you have any concept arts, just to make sure a voice talent knows how the character looks like. So it's good and it's better to make him even more imagine how the character can be and what he can be or she can be. Always put also a character's role. This is important when it comes to preparing and organizing the work. So if it's a background character, if it's a protagonist or antagonist, because one voice talent can play a bunch of minor background characters. That's fine. And you, thanks to that, if you put it in a straight way, you can organize their work so that one actor can have a couple of characters per one session. To the sessions, to the elements of sessions and time of the sessions, I will delve into details in a moment. So remember about those most important elements. Of course, remember also about the number of lines to be recorded. It's important when it comes, again, to organizing your work, when it comes to organizing sessions, and of course the budget for a one actor, right? Like Troy Baker is a definitely fantastic actor, and he probably can act any kind of character, but probably he is hard to get. So if you want to hire him, just make sure he's going to play one character and not a bunch of any other, because one session per, for example, protagonist is also, one session per character is like 4, maybe 3 hours. So a protagonist should have probably like 12 or even 15 hours of recording sessions. And it's good to divide them into parts, of course. Accent is important because this is also like a tip from me, because when you need a character, for example, Lara Croft. She's British, right? So she has this specific accent which is needed and that the audience, the players need to hear because they know this is Lara Croft. So if you have an actress to play Lara Croft, you have to be sure that she can speak with a British accent, right? And possibly, as an American speaker, possibly she can fake the British accent, right? But maybe not sure. So be sure that the accent you want is there, and the company of the voice talents have the full range and full requirements on paper to meet them when it comes to selecting an actor. Tracking sheet. Tracking sheet is this Excel file, again, that helps you to make sure you have the whole thing under your control. So the recording sessions and tracking your actors and characters. As you see, this one is marked in yellow, and the previous one was marked in green. The green, I used the color coding on purpose. The green one is actually supposed to mark the character features, and the yellow one, the actor, right? So who is the actor? Tilda Swinton, of course. How many words she's gonna record, how many sessions or time selected to be a one session to last, it's also there. If we have a mock-up needed. So the facial mockup is also important to put here so that the company will know this special tool, this special camera to record the mockup, the facial mockup is there for this and this number of text lines. Of course, you can match it together, so the green one and the yellow one, so that you have the whole document like in a full one spreadsheet. And so that it's easier to track an actor and his or her character that she or he performs. The status. This is a very good hint. Always put the status. When it comes to text line, I will show you in a moment. And when it comes to the whole character. So if we have an actor, if we have the second part of the character details, we can put a status that is recorded or not recorded or to be re-recorded or the first pass or anything that you want, anything that you actually come up as a term, as a definition. It's up to you, but make sure you know what is there and what you actually put there, right? And of course, be sure that you track the time because 8 hours is probably 2 or even 3 sessions. So be sure that you realistically plan your sessions per actor. Before recordings, remember to send the whole script. I will show you an example of a script in a moment. Be sure that the script is sent to an actor. It's very probable that your voice talent won't read it at all until he or she gets to the booth. But it's good to be sure that you've done everything that you made, and that you actually took care of everything that the actor needs. Possibly is that the voice director of the company that actually hires those voice talents, he or she will read the script, or actually a part of the script that is needed for this particular session with an actor. Because they need to know the context. Voice director that actually runs the recording session on behalf of the company of the voice talents, he or she will know their work, and you have to trust them. But still, you are there to help them to understand the context. Sometimes explain to the voice talents the situation. If it's a combat, the voice talent has to be, adrenaline, louder. Possibly he may stylize his voice, for example, right? And you're there to help this voice director to get as best as you could to direct those voice talents. When it comes to planning realistically, that's a very tricky word because there's a bunch of elements you have to remember about. Some of them I mentioned before, but still, remember that your actually voice talent can be somewhere else, living somewhere else. If I'm running a voiceover session based in Poland, for example, I'm working in Poland, and my actor is from USA. We have time zones, so it's good that you remember that he or she will work in different time zones and to organize those sessions according to their plan and not ours, because they are hard to get and not you are hard to get, right? So remember also to plan the re-recording sessions, pick-up sessions, because there will be a lot of them, trust me. And remember to always plan it realistically so that you can catch your, for example, main actor who plays the protagonist, and he will play all the lines, and it doesn't mean that his part will change and divide into two different actors, because that will be a total fail, right? So make sure his or she's available for the whole time of your schedule of voice recording sessions, and he or she can do this part alone, him or herself, right? Remember also about the stylized voice. What is stylized voice? Is when, for example, I'm writing some barks, so those combat one-liners that require changing your voice, right? So you have to growl, you have to shout, you have to murmur, you have to do anything different that your normal voice can. So just fake voice, right? And this kind of voice lines are very exhausting for the actor. So remember to put them at the end of the session. Because when you start from the stylized voice session, you will probably tire and you will make your voice talent exhausted. And his voice or her voice will be stressed, will be tired, and probably won't sound that good as you want them to sound when he or she is going to play like a leading role or other character that should speak in a normal voice. So my tip, good tip, leave them, those stylized voices, at the end of the session. This is an example I promised. It might be an example of a script. Of course, again, if you have a different way or method of writing a script, different format of Excel sheet, or different tool to write scripts, that's super cool, that's fine, it's up to you. But these are actually the most important things that you have to remember, whatever the format, wherever the tool is, to remember to put before you send it to your voice talents, or when you send it and you are in the middle of live recording session. Remember to put the direction lead. This is this kind of a context, this kind of a situation of where this character is saying, is performing this text line, what is the situation, where is the scene, if it's a combat or if it's a dramatic scene and the characters need to be, for example, silent or sneaky, or, you know, they have to whisper, in other words, right? Remember also to put the status. Status will be everywhere with you when you are tracking the recording sessions. So each line should have a separate, unique status that it's recorded or needs to be re-recorded or final or not recorded at all. Remember to put them, because you will get lost in all those lines when you're tracking your recording sessions. What about the takes? Takes are those tries of a voice talent who performs the lines. Usually, and trust me, it's enough when a voice actor is going to play like 3 times. So first one is probably more, you know, alive. Second one is probably more, the intonation can change. And the last one is probably louder or quieter according to the director's requirements, right? And leads. It's usually enough to pick from 1 or 2 or 3 takes. It's good to remember to put the text lines in a chronological order, just to make sure the voice talent knows what's happening. It's also good for you and for the voiceover director to not to get him lost, right? And not to confuse him at all. You can do it like per levels, you can do it per cutscenes or appearance of the character. But trust me, it's good when you put the chronological order of the whole story. So the voice talent knows that he or she sees the beginning of the story and she or he follows the progress of the story, and that helps him or her also change his voice or her voice according to the story arc and according to the change that the character possibly will witness, experience at the end of his adventure. It's good also to remember about the color coding. It's more for you and the voiceover director than for the voice talents. Again, not to confuse everybody when it comes to tracking the text lines. You can use the yellow color when it comes to cutscenes and other different color for in-game text. When it comes to the recording tips, when you are in the middle of your recording session, and you have your voice talent in a booth. So make sure you remember about those elements. Of course, there can be more, right? Because every session is different. But I just try to take as most important as possible and put it here just to make sure you will be all well prepared. So I said actually a couple of words about the takes. I also recommend a very good talk by DB Cooper. She's actually a very experienced voice talent that performs the characters in games. She did a great talk at GDC a couple of years ago, and she also mentions these takes as hot to cold and just right. So this kind of range of emotions that the voice talent puts when performing a line in a booth. Always remember to trust your voice talent and your voice-over director. They know their job possibly even better than you. So when it comes to interrupting and putting or mentioning your own interpretation of a text line, because you are the author and you have, of course, the right to do it, but wait till the end of the text line. Wait till the end of voice-over director's leads, right? And if you, of course, feel that this line sounds odd, or it doesn't fit necessarily the context of the scene, of course, do it. Show the voice talent how you read it, how you perform it, but usually you don't have actually do a lot of times during your recording session, because trust me, they know what they're doing. So let the actor feel the flow, let the actor perform the character and not just read the lines. This is very, very important. Sometimes those voice talents, actually they do so much input into lines that you have to even change the lines in the script, because they will change it, because probably they will sound more natural way when they perform them different way. And that's good. Oh, that's good, and that's enough. And it actually happens very usually, very often. So trust them and just do it. As for the stylized lines, I told you to wait for the end of the session, of course. And what's most important, of course, here about the cutscene is that let the entire progress of the cutscene. So possibly the voice directors know already how to do it, but if not, remind them to make the voice director a placeholder actor when it comes to the full progress of the cutscene. And the voice talent has like a couple of lines in a dialogue or in a scene. And the second one, the second character that he spoke to, also should be read while recording. So we have the voice talent, the proper one, and we have the placeholder actor, who is most often the voiceover director, and they both read the lines so that the flow is natural. So remember to do it this way and not just standalone text lines of a cutscene and the voice talent is reading them just separately. Remember about the flow, because this is what will make it natural. Yeah, trust your voice talents, always. remember about the monologue in Blade Runner, of course. So when your voice talent wants to improvise something or wants to change your line because it's more natural, because they would just give their input of this character that they feel better than you probably, just let them do it. And to summarize and as a wrap-up, remember to plan realistically your recording sessions. Remember to keep tracking of the sessions. Always be in line and update your Excel files because this is important not to get lost in this whole bunch of text lines to be recorded. Get one person responsible, like from your company, right? Let's call him like internal director. It can be you, of course, and it's the best when it's you as narrative designer or writer, because you are the king of the script, right? Or the queen of the script. Possibly you will be collaborating with producer, who's responsible for the budget and all the production stuff, but still one person should be responsible for tracking the Excel file, because as I said at the beginning, the more people, the more mess. All of the above hints, all of the above things that I actually mentioned are here to get the best possible effect. So it is a fully and properly voiced game. So these are three things: mastery, the best possible voice talents hired; credibility, that the voice fits the character; and memorability, that the voice will be associated with the character and everyone will remember that Płotka in Polish version of Witcher was spoken by Wojciech Mann, of course. So, to summarize, we have mastery.
It's time to start talking. What did you do? Why did you kill her? Look, I know I have a casual relationship with murder. I don't remember everyone I've killed, but I do remember everyone I've killed in the last 5 minutes.
Credibility.
Boy. 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 Boy.
And memorability.
Oh my God.
And of course, we can assume that all of those three elements, mastery, credibility, and memorability, can of course fit all those three examples, right? But you get the point. This is all from me. Thank you very much for coming. I know this is the second day, so the more I appreciate that you are here. And if you have anything to talk to me or you have any questions, please probably we'll have a couple of minutes right now, or we can just leave to the questions to the corridor. I also invite you to the Future Games stand, as I am an advisory board member of them, and I am totally to recommend you the Roboto Games, Roboto Global, who are in charge of running the recording sessions and localization. So I do recommend them, and thank you very much again.